Welcome to Biz Wire. I'm Joseph Nordstrom in Beijing. China has evacuated over 3,000 of its citizens from Vietnam after anti-Chinese protests over the past week have left at least 2 people dead, possibly over 20, and hundreds more injured. Businesses and workers that appeared to be Chinese were the focus of attacks. Vietnamese are angry about a billion-dollar Chinese oil rig placed in what Vietnam says is their exclusive economic zone near the Paracel Islands in the South China Sea, where there are many disputes over territory. The outbreak of violence and anti-Chinese sentiment threatens the $50 billion trade relationship between the two neighbors. In the past week, many Chinese firms operating in Vietnam have closed to avoid losses. Vietnam's industry and trade minister said if the violence can't be contained, the country's economic development will be damaged because foreign companies will stop investing. The state-run China Daily reports that China's investment in Vietnam increased sharply in 2013, with 89 new projects bringing total investment to over $2.3 billion, up from just $371 million the year before. As the cost of labor rises in China, many factories have been moving across the border to Vietnam, where wages can be just a tenth of the cost. China and Vietnam are both ruled by an authoritarian communist party who are uneasy about allowing public protest, though may give tacit support when the angst is directed toward a foreign power. For several days, protesters were allowed to demonstrate, but seeing the violence would be bad for business, over the weekend Vietnamese officials said enough was enough. The state-owned Xinhua news agency says that China arranged 2 chartered flights to bring home nearly 300 people, many of them injured, while 5 ships were on their way to Vietnam to evacuate more people on Sunday. Analysts differ as to China's motives for putting the drilling rig in disputed waters. Some say it's a show of its re-emerging strength, while others that it's a way to bring Vietnam back to the negotiating table for joint drilling in the area. What's not in dispute is the huge quantities of oil and natural gas. CNBC reports that proven or provable reserves in the South China Sea are larger than that in Alaska at its peak in the 1970s. Now, Vietnam's economy grew 5.3% last year, with foreign investment being a big part of that growth. Tensions between the neighbors have run high the past several decades, but economic interactions have been strengthening in recent years. Vietnam receives about a quarter of its imports from China, who is also building infrastructure in Vietnam that helped China grow to where it is economically today. You're watching Biz Wire on the Blue Ocean Network, China's first and only privately owned English-language broadcast media. Our full episode can be seen on our website, BONTV/biz-wire. Let's turn now to Neil Jones for a quick look at a few stories that are buzzing through the markets.